familiar with the genre. You've been in other superhero franchises. You've even voiced a DC character, General Sam Lane. What is it about this genre that you love?
It's Greek mythology. It's the origin of story. Sometimes we need demigods to look at us to understand what our weaknesses are.
Right.
It serves the mythological world.
This film is huge. It's set in it's a time war period piece, and there's a lot of characters, but Patty makes it all work. Can you talk to me about how Patty handled all that on set, like just the creative process working with her?
Well, I met her for dinner, and she told me the story, and how she thought that it would be made. She's visionary, and then she described Ludendorff, and she showed me photographs, and I realized that this was a character that existed in the First World War. That he lost his son, deeply patriotic, and had this objective to win the war, as any general would,
right.
who was fighting for his country, and what a great antagonist that would be for Wonder Woman, who has this very simple message, which is love conquers all, and how I would see that as a character is very naive, and I'm a realist.
Sure.
So there are these opposed points of view, which both kind of make sense. Mine more perverse, more diabolical, but nevertheless set in truth.
Right.
And to have a demigod, and from mythological terms, look at us from that perspective, so that we can see our own weaknesses.
Right.
And the dangers, the pitfalls that mankind has, is what storytelling is all about.
Absolutely. You touched on something really interesting. How much research did you do into this character?
As much as I could. He's a fascinating guy. He later aligned himself with Hitler. They tried a coup d'etat. Deeply humiliated by the loss of the First World War. He's a fascinating character, a terrifying character.
Wow, that's super interesting. I didn't know that much about him.
Yeah.
Another question I had was the general message of this film. You touched on Wonder Woman saying love conquers all. Do you think that's the general message of the film? Because I also like the fact of Ares kind of was like, well, I'm not necessarily telling people to go to war. I'm just kind of throwing out suggestions almost.
Yes.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yes, I think it's fascinating, and that was Patty Jenkins' original concept that she expressed to me, was that we think that Diana, Wonder Woman, is fighting against Ares,
right.
but actually mankind.
Yeah, I thought that was
is just as evil. So that means we have to be introspective and look within ourselves and examine what that means. Yes, there are always these sort of dueling forces and these demigods in Greek mythology and in Hindu mythology, which are forces that are really questioning who we are.